Hey, Celine, can you hear me okay? Are you still in here? There you are. Okay, there's a little lag. Good. I'm going to try to do these every night. I'm trying to do 7 o'clock. I don't know if it works, but this is only day 2 of doing this, so I don't know if my thumbnails are good, if it's my titles people read. I'm still trying to understand YouTube. It's a lot different than TikTok. Kind of. There's not as many trolls. TikTok has a lot of bots and right-wing nuts on it. So this seems a little more you have to make a purpose to actually go to the live, where TikTok you can just scroll through and go from one to another to another to another. So yeah. I had a topic tonight, if you guys are okay with it. I wanted to talk about, hey Eli, the MAGA is now it's a religion. And calling it a political party, I think, is actually doing this a disservice. It is a religion of white supremacy. And not just that, but I would actually go as far and say that it's a hateful party. And when people ask why so many evangelicals still support this, if you go back, and this is just for historical purposes, whether you believe in the Bible or not, this is not a judgment. This is just stating the facts. If you go back, here, let me get my notes really quick so I don't speak out of turn. Look at Barabbas, okay? This is just for educational purposes, so you understand what the MAGA is. Barabbas was in jail with the rebels because he committed murder during an insurrection. Barabbas had been thrown into prison for an insurrection in the city for murder, another scripture in Luke. They had the notorious prisoner called Barabbas. Barabbas was a robber. Now, if you just took those scriptures right there, okay? And this is not a preaching thing. This is just for historical context. Doesn't that sound a lot look like the felon that's currently in the office? Now, if you go back, right, the Sanhedrin of the time, you can justify and say that was the original MAGA movement. They saw this radical left socialist because that's how MAGA views Jesus. He's not a real man. He's empathetic. He has compassion. He has sympathy. He gave his life for people. He fed people. They view him as a socialist, probably funded by George Soros. That's how they view him. And they didn't like what this dude had to say, right? This little sissy man, he's not a real man. He's not an alpha male. They literally crucified him. They literally murdered this guy because he wouldn't bend a knee to their religious ideology. And when given the chance to even free him, Pontius Pilate says, I see nothing wrong with this guy. You have this dude that's done nothing wrong but be nice to people. And you have Barabbas, an insurrectionist who literally murders people who led an insurrection. And who did MAGA choose 2,000 years ago? Barabbas. Thank you. This is who they've always wanted, my friends. Listen, I consider myself a faith, and probably some people in here do. Yes, Republican Jesus. Nowhere in the Bible does it say to be a Christian. Nowhere does Jesus ask anybody to be religious. And if I'm wrong, please quote the scripture. Yes, Celine, I was actually named after Saul of Tarsus, believe it or not. And they're just morally bankrupt. They don't want it. When these people are raised in the evangelical church, they focus on Leviticus and Deuteronomy, right? If you do something wrong, we're going to punish you. Law and order, law and order, law and order. They don't want this Jesus guy that preaches kindness and compassion and empathy. That's who they are. And that's what they did. In 16, they chose Barabbas. In 24, they chose Barabbas. 2,000 years ago, they chose Barabbas. Christianity is religion, okay? I'm going to make a video on this. I think for a lot of people, that, like myself, that are frustrated that maybe we believe in God, but we don't like religion, that's what this is. Evangelical Christianity is a religion. I like to consider myself a person of faith. I happen to believe in God. If you don't, you know what? That's cool. I still love you. I'm not here to judge you. We're supposed to love thy neighbor as thyself. Some of the nicest, most compassionate, empathetic people I know are atheists. Isn't that ironic? The nastiest, most judgmental people are people that go to church on Sunday and wear a cross. Ironic, isn't it? Oh, well, thank you, Chronicles. I will have to look that up for you. But that's what we have to realize. MAGA is not following Jesus. They have weaponized religion. And look at this as an example. How many MAGA or evangelicals, because what they really are Pharisees, right? Jesus spoke against them all the time. They were religious zealots that weaponized this Bible in order to control people. And if you look at the history of the United States, how many of these white people say that this was a Christian nation? Almost every white evangelical. White people kidnapped black people as slaves. They lynched them. They didn't even let them worship in the same church. They couldn't drink from the same water fountain. They forced them to build the White House. We murdered Native Americans. Women didn't have the right to vote. Women had no rights at all. They couldn't divorce their husbands. They couldn't have credit. They were treated like second-class citizens. Asians, forced to be in internment camps. So can anybody tell me at what year we were a Christian nation? You can't. Because we've never been a Christian nation. But in the eyes of MAGA Pharisees, they view that as a Christian nation because it was really about white supremacy. And that's really what MAGA is. It's about make America white again. It's white supremacy. Right? Look at their attack on trans people. And by the way, tonight, the military said that they're not going to pay, retirement benefits to people that were trans that got kicked out. There's a special place in hell for people like that. And I have no problem saying that. They served this country for 15 and 18 years. And you're not going to give them their pension? Are you out of your mind? For all, and this is for you when you talk to people. When people say, God says that it's between one man and one woman. So let's just take that for a second, okay? Who's on their third wife? Oh, I thought it was between one man and one woman. He nominates Pete Hegseth, who had 2 different daughters outside of his marriage because he was being unfaithful to her. I thought marriage was between one man and one woman. What about Wormbrain? He had so many affairs that his wife took her own life. I thought it was between one man and one woman. I don't understand. Why was the president lying with the porn star in Las Vegas while she was at home with her 2-week-old son? I thought marriage was between one man and one woman. See, it's a bunch of crap. It's about maintaining white supremacy. There's a famous quote. Let me pull it up because I don't want to quote it wrong. It's about... I think it was LBJ. Morally wake up Ant-Man over the most. Hold on here. I can't find it, but there was a speech that said this country will vote for the most morally bankrupt piece of human garbage that's literally stealing your wallet if you're a white man, but they will reject the most qualified black person. And that's exactly what MAGA is. MAGA couldn't stomach a black man in the White House instead of picking their cotton, and they lost their minds. And these trailer trash hillbillies, which is what they are, they're not very smart. They only see white America. And when they see gay people, trans people, black people, immigrants, they think their version of America is going away. And we got here because of nationalism. We have told everybody since we're little, we put them in American flag diapers. We wake up and we eat our freedom Wheaties, right? We look at the flag in the morning after with our freedom coffee, and we worship the flag. We pray to the flag. We kneel to the flag. We sing a song to the flag. And before we leave the house, we feed our pet bald eagle. And then we go to our truck and we polish the Constitution. And we make sure all 8 trillion American flags on our truck are waving in perfect alignment, because that means we're America, right? We're patriots. It doesn't make you a patriot. It makes you a nationalist. But if you go ask someone that doesn't look like me, go ask an Asian who had a grandparent, Asian American, that was in an internment camp. Do you think it's great for them? Was it great for women when they couldn't vote? They couldn't even have no-fault divorce from their husbands until the 80s. Was it great for them? 249 years, 50% of our country are women. Is it great for women? Do women still get paid the same? What happens when women report sexual assault? Oh, it's fake. It's rigged. I don't believe her. It's not real. She just wants money. Is that great? Because that's what 77 million people did. 77 million of these white supremacist Christians voted for a rapist. And they say it's God's design. Nobody's perfect. I just care about his policies. That's what they are. Thank you, Richard. And then let's even go to our black brothers and sisters. Their parents, I've seen wills. I do genealogy. When you go like to Ohio back, they stopped doing the manual census in 49 or 1950. You go back to the early 40s, you have 2 columns for census. You would have white people and then non-white people, i.e. black people. And when you look at old wills from probably 2 or 3 generations ago, literally there was NEGRO in the wills with the name. This 12-year-old blah, blah, blah is now the property of, they were treated like property. So you're going to tell me that American flag for every demographic that's not white is great? You're going to tell me that it's great? While black people have their houses redlined? While they have to cross the street because someone looks at them weird? Because they get pulled over at night? Because they get paid less? They get called the N-word just because of how they look? This isn't a great country. It's a shithole country. We really are. And for white MAGA, it breaks their brains, right? Then leave this country, lib. I'm not a lib. I'm an independent. But you're challenging their version of America. The nationalism is questioned. Thank you, Scott. I'm trying. And it has to be my demographic that has this conversation. But MAGA is a religious cult of white supremacy. And I may not have millions of followers, but this is what has to happen. That's what it is. Make America white again. Don't kid yourself. CRT, DEI, immigrants, taking away the Martin Luther King bust, the Tuscany, taking away trans people, sending back immigrants to countries they're not from, kidnapping immigrants and making them drink out of a toilet in a concentration camp, joking about being traced by alligators. Really? And what's their complaint? They just want them here legally. So let's take that for a second. So someone that's been here for 40 years, never committed a felony, never committed a crime, raised their family here, owns a business, owns real estate, owns vehicles, pays their taxes. They're good people. You're going to justify grabbing them off the street, breaking into their house, zip tying them while their children are crying because you just want them here legally. Well, who did you vote for? A rapist? A convicted felon? A man who cheats on his wife? a guy who has dinner with white supremacists, who is a white supremacist Klan leader. Very fine people on both sides. January 6th was an insurrection. Oh, but I just want them here legally. No, it's because they're not the right color. That's what this is about. Part of this country sees their version of Leave It to Beaver, white America going away. That's just the facts. It's not about tariffs or cost of living. What happened after this dumpster fire racist took office? What happened? What did the plantation owner do? Nothing. Own the libs, sit on his fat ass, go golfing, more golfing. Those bone spurs sure healed up really good, didn't they? Talks down to people, demonizes people, makes fun of people. Oh, prices are going to go back down. He's doing this. He's playing 8D chess. Because it was never about the economy. It was never about the economy. It was about make America white again. That's all they cared about. Yeah, I was trying to find that quote, Coma Light. I couldn't find it. I know it was LBJ. But there's too many people in this country that couldn't stomach a black woman. That's just the reality. And I don't care if Midas Touch and Joe Rogan have millions of followers or CNN or MSNBC. None of them are talking about the real reason that he won. She wasn't a felon. She didn't cause an insurrection. She didn't lie 34,000 times. She didn't cheat on her husband. She's not a rapist. She's not guilty of tax fraud. She didn't cause an insurrection. But I didn't like her laugh. Misogyny. Sexism. I didn't know her policies. Do you know how to read? No, you don't. Most of his base don't know how to read. Most of his base don't know what the three branches of government are. They don't. Because he's white. That's why Trump's not in jail. And he's rich. Rich white men almost never, ever are held accountable. That's just the reality. It is. It is horrible. It's disgusting. It's vile. It's repugnant. It's morally reprehensible. But the reason we're here, whether we like to hear it or not, is because white people were too damn lazy and they hid behind their privilege. Don't care if you like to hear it. That's the truth. If we would have stood with Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks or took a knee with Colin Kaepernick or John Lewis or Harriet Tubman, if white people would have stood with everybody and done the right damn thing, then we would have progressed as a society. But we didn't because it didn't affect us. And even right now, while fascism's here, we should be shutting this country down through a general strike. But too many people, their privilege is keeping them safe. I haven't lost my job. I haven't lost my car. I haven't had my 401k go down. I can't afford to do this. And even right now, they're hiding behind their privilege. And Michelle Obama said it best. If you think that your privilege is going to keep you safe from the darkness, you are sadly mistaken. And that's what a lot of these, they are trailer park trash. They are. They're going to find out when they lose their farms, when they lose their jobs, when they lose their Medicaid, when USAID went away and a lot of people lost their farms, when they stop using the US dollar, when they stop using trade partners and they put 80% tariffs on potash for the farmers, they're going to find out really quick. William, I think it was a scam. I can't, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. But there's been no investigation about his little ear. But I find it funny. Yeah, I got to watch the second episode of South Park. Isn't it ironic, though, that his base literally put tampons on their ears for like a month, but then they're making fun of boys that have tampons in the bathrooms? They're duct taping tampons on their ears. I mean, they're not serious people. They're mature. And then they put garbage bags on. I mean, think about that. People are taping tampons on their ears. Over 40,000 people get shot from guns every year. And all they get is thoughts and prayers. But their orange daddy, their messiah, their plantation owner, gets a boo-boo on his ear. And all of a sudden, don't call us garbage. We're going to put tampons on our ears because God sent them here. Where was God during the Holocaust? Where was he during Jim Crow and segregation? Where was he during Sandy Hook, World War I, World War II? Where was God throughout all these atrocities? But all of a sudden, God comes down from heaven and puts his popcorn bucket on a table and saves your rapist? Really? Really? That's what God did, huh? They're not bright people. They lack critical thinking. Yeah, Vanessa, I would say that the one thing that really broke my heart outside of white supremacy is the lack of compassion and empathy that a lot of people have. I posted a video today earlier. I talked to two MAGA the other night, and I don't talk to them. My first question is, if I don't know them, did you vote for this guy? Yes. And I said, and I'm serious, watch my video from earlier today. Why wasn't the sexual assault of Jean Carroll a red line for you? And they both agreed that he did it. But there's other things to consider. I'm not kidding. That's what he said. Hey, Paula. And the second person, I agreed, and he said it happened as well. And he went down this diatribe. I said, what if it happened to your mom? Would you still vote for him? And he said no. And see, that's the problem. Because their mom wasn't Jean Carroll. Their daughter wasn't Adriana Smith. Their sister wasn't Breonna Taylor. Their dad wasn't Officer Sitnick or one of the other officers. They don't give a damn. It's rich, isn't it, that these people that pretend to be a Christian for 1 hour a week on Sunday with their Joe in the Home bumper sticker and their F. Joe Biden flag, because, nothing says I love Jesus like that. And you're supposed to love thyself, love thy neighbor as thyself. Where's your compassion for all these firearm victims? Oh, that's right. There's nothing we can do. But we're going to pass 300 bills about transgenders because, there's no hate like Christian love. Praise Jesus. But it's okay to vote for a rapist. But if you're trans, it's just a bridge too far. It's against the design of God. That's what we're dealing with. Lack of critical thinking. Anything to maintain white America. Yeah, there's no love like Christian hate. I say that as a person of faith. They are the least Christ-like people in this country. Yeah, and it goes back to the, I'm going to make a video about this. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Now, let's think about that, okay? There's two parts of that I like to focus on. A, we as Americans judge, am I better off? Strictly from a capitalistic perspective, right? Ooh, I had more money. Ooh, I got a tax break. Ooh, I got a higher tax credit. Okay, great. That's money. The second part is you. Oh, I'm better off, so I don't care about anybody else, right? I don't care if women lose their lives from not having health care. Oh, I don't care if women die of sepsis. Oh, I don't care if children die in schools. Ooh, I don't care if people are dying from lack of not having a home. I don't care. I'm better off, so praise Jesus. I'm going to vote for more money. And we have done this as a society, right? If you look at a place like Germany, they have a great quality of life. They pay about a 35% tax rate. It's a lot. But you know what they don't have? Mass shootings, mass homelessness, mass mental health. They don't have 1.7 million people in prisons. They have family leave. Women have the right to do with their bodies. They have a far superior, better quality of life. And what we've done in this country is exchange capitalism for a quality of life. And that's a shame. Well, the 30s, yes, you're right. 1930s was Nazi Germany. That's obviously pretty. I'm talking about now. I agree. But that's where we are. Is that we basically base everything off of capitalism. And these people that go to church on Sunday aren't you supposed to build your wealth in heaven where moth and rust can't get to them? Aren't we supposed to love thy enemy as if to heap hot coals on them, like King Solomon said? Aren't you supposed to love them with kindness? But these people are cheering on, I hate Taylor Swift. I hate the Democrats, making fun of disabled people, own the libs. They're not. They serve the Antichrist. They're going to bunk next to Jeffrey Epstein. That's who they are. On Judgment Day, that's going to be the first time they ever speak to Jesus, ever. They both, Satan and MAGA both believe in God, and neither one of them follow him. By your fruits shall you be judged. What am I supposed to say? Oh, I can't say that Hitler wasn't a Christian. I didn't know him. I know what he did to people. And when people say, and especially from evangelicals, these white supremacists, these Pharisees, right? Oh, I'm not voting for the man, I'm voting for the policies. Whoa, wait a minute. Really? Would you vote for Hitler? Would you vote for Benito Mussolini? You know, he did some bad stuff. He enslaved 130,000 people. He murdered innocent women and children. But you know what? I really like his tax plan. Would they say that about Hitler? Because I think that MAGA might vote for Hitler. Yeah, what he did to the Jews was, but you know what? I really like his tax policy. You know, I don't vote for the man, I vote for the policy. Would you vote for Ted Kaczynski? Yeah, you know, he did some stuff, but I really like his tax plan. I mean, come on. It's so stupid. That gives you a free pass to do anything that's immoral. Because if that's really the case, then they should vote for Democrats, right? Because no one's perfect. Why don't you vote for Kamala Harris? I thought nobody was perfect. I thought we're not supposed to judge. Oh, that's different. See, that's the problem. It's pure hypocrisy. And to them, they don't care as long as the person's white. Paula, it's about white supremacy. I wish I could find that quote. They would vote for the most. Let me see if I can find it. I know it's here. It was LBJ, right? Here it is. Hold on. Okay, here it is. If this was Lyndon Johnson, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you picking his pocket. He'll give you someone to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. That's where we are. This country didn't want a black man as president, so they picked a plantation owner. That's it. It's that simple. It's not complicated. And for people like Scott Jennings, that white nationalist on CNN, all he talks about is money, 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 capitalism. He's not a Christian either. Because he's not basing his decision on morality and decency and kindness and compassion. He's basing it off of owning the libs, tearing people down, and capitalism. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Why is their entire structure based on money, 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 money? Look at Elijah. He lived by a creek for what, 3 years? While was in a drought, being fed by birds. Did he complain? Did he whine about the price of eggs? Did he complain, God, I need more money? No. Because they value what's of the world. They're building their wealth on the world, not up in heaven. That's why they're not Christians. There's no compassion. There's none. And if Jesus came to their door, they would either put him back up on the cross or they would call ice on him because he's brown. Yeah, Remy, I'm doing my part. I'm going to keep doing it. And if I have to run for office to do it and lose, then I'll do it. There has to be more important things than just winning. There has to be. There was a quote that I saw. If you guys haven't seen Doctor Strange, it's an excellent movie. At the end of the movie, Doctor Strange has this thing called the time stone where he can go back. I think it's like 30 seconds or a minute, right? And so he goes up against this celestial creature called Dormammu. And Dormammu is far superior to him. And he kills him again. And then Doctor Strange comes back to life. And he kills him again and again and again. This goes on for a while. And Dormammu goes, what's happening to me? He's like, we're stuck in this loop forever. And Dormammu says, but you can't win. He's like, but I can lose. I can lose again and again and again, but the people of Earth will be safe. And the problem with our political system is that they don't have that mindset. They care more about winning than working for you and I. It's true. It's sad, but it's true. Monica says, how can you hate if you claim they're not Christians? Well, Monica, I would argue that Christianity is actually a religion because the word Christianity isn't even in the Bible. Neither are rosary beads. Those are religious things that you do. I religiously brush my teeth every day. I religiously eat breakfast. I religiously walk 5 miles every day. Those are religious things. It is something that you do. Faith is something that you believe in, something that you follow. They don't follow anything except own the libs and white supremacy. That is it. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot live in both light and darkness. They cannot serve their antichrist, Trump, and serve Jesus, who speaks about love and compassion, because they don't want Jesus. They have always wanted Barabbas. Go back to the original Klan. It was run by white pastors in a church and police officers. Go look at the pictures. They're horrible to see. They're hard to watch. They'll have people hanging from the tree. And they'll have white people, 100 of them, like it's Sunday morning, like they're just having a picnic. They're just walking around in their sunny finest with people hanging from the tree. Praise Jesus, right? That's their Christian version of America. As long as you're white, who cares about morality? Yes, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. Yeah, most people, what I've noticed, and you probably have too, and tell me if I'm wrong, most people that aren't Christians, that are evangelicals, white supremacists, they have to put like the book of Isaiah or James 3:13. If you have to tell somebody that you're something, then you're probably not it. Because that likely means that your fruits are rotten. They're not reflecting what you claim to believe in. Did Jimmy Carter have to go around and say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian? No. He took care of people. He built houses for people when he was like 85 years old. Did Mother Teresa go around and say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian? No. She was kind to people. She was compassionate to people. Same thing with Martin Luther King. Did he have to go around and say that I'm a Christian? No. Do you think Martin Luther King would be throwing the Bible in your face? No. By your faith without works is dead. And that's why they're not Christians or people of faith. Because they have no works. You can say you're a Christian all you want. You can talk about God until you're blue in the face. Satan believes in God. Is Satan going to heaven because he believes in God? No. Because he doesn't follow him. Because his fruits don't match. Yeah. But they don't want to judge people. Remove the log from your own eye before you see the speck in your brother's. By your fruits shall you be judged. Moses said, judge thy neighbor fairly. By the same measure you judge, lest you be judged. It's rich that they judge every other demographic that's not a straight white evangelical. Gay people, trans people, black people, immigrants, Muslims. They literally judge everybody that's not white. Somehow it's okay for them to do it, but not everyone else. Yeah. And I was a Republican. I voted for, I had a lot of respect for John McCain. If we had a Senate and a Congress full of John McCains, we would be a lot better off as a country. He was a decent human being. And I voted for Obama the second time. But you know what? If Romney would have won, we would have been all right. He was a decent person. And we don't have that in politics anymore. We don't have decency. Politics has turned into a sporting event. Only if my team wins. Okay, great. Your team wins. Then what? What if it's bad for the country? What if it's bad for people? But as long as you win, who cares? That's a shame. That's not what it should be about. It's supposed to be about the better of society. That's why who left? Mitt Romney? Yeah. I don't blame him. You know, I would say for Romney, I didn't agree with Romney on everything. But his party, I would say that for Romney, his party left him. Yeah, Sharon, people are selfish. They only care about something when it affects them. Yep. So, yeah. Let's go back to the political thing really quick. If we wait till the midterms, what's going to happen? Let's play this out because I like to think things out, okay? Let's say we go to the midterms. Now, granted, in that year and a half, people are in concentration camps. People are being kidnapped. Women don't have the right to do with their own bodies. States are being gerrymandered on both sides of the coin. Politicians are still taking money from APAC, dark money, corporations, and they're giving tax breaks to the rich people. The economy is going in the toilet. The middle class is going to be basically slave labor. And what's going to happen? Democrats and Republicans are both going to ask us for money. Really? Right now? This is the time you want money? Let's say the Democrats win. Let's say by some measure, okay? What's going to happen? What is the MAGA white angry man? Oh, it was rigged. It was fake. It was gerrymandered. You don't think they're going to go back to a January 6th kind of thing? That's a possibility. Let's say we somehow survive that. Then what? Then the next 2 years, you really want Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to run this country on the Senate and the Congress? Really? Really? That's what you want? Have you seen Hakeem Jeffries? I've seen jellyfish with more backbone than that dude. He doesn't fight. They're going to spend the next 2 years after that arguing, complaining, moaning, groaning, talking about Antifa, talking about Jeffrey Epstein. This system is broken. There's extremes on the left and the right. Yeah, you're not wrong. I think he actually pardoned the January 6th people. Some of them are probably the masked armed people working for ICE. I would not be surprised in the slightest. Those are brown shirts. It's just like Nazi Germany. It is. But Sharon, here's the thing, and maybe you can disagree with me. It's okay. The system itself is not designed to help the American people. This is what I propose. We all stop working. Teachers, truck drivers, FedEx. This is, in an ideal situation, what I would do. You get 15 million people to stop working. You stop paying federal taxes. You don't put your kids in school. You don't go to work. You buy the essentials, just food, water, whatever you need. That's it. You don't pay federal taxes. You starve the government. If they want to print more money, go for it. I don't care. You protest every day. And you say, we're not going to participate in this broken system until you fix these laws. You reverse Citizens United. You reinstate Roe versus Wade. You raise minimum wage to $15 an hour. You remove Trump and his little lapdog J.D. Vance, that white supremacist. And you invoke common sense gun reform. A background check at private shows. A 10-day waiting period. Safe gun storage. If your gun is under your bed or in a closet and your kid uses it in a school shooting, you get charged with a felony, because with great power comes great responsibility. The Second Amendment was written when muskets took 1 minute to reload. It's that simple. It sounds simple, but I don't think Americans are willing to be uncomfortable. That's what I've noticed. I've done this for 4 months. I've been pushing this, and I have 4,500 signatures on it. I've heard a lot of excuses. I don't even think it's the system itself is broken. If we elect Democrats again in the midterms, okay, we're still playing in the broken system. If you rebuild a house on a broken foundation, what's the point? The house is going to fail, right? Because the foundation is sinking into the sand. And that's the problem. It's the foundation of the system. If the Democrats win, will it slow the bleeding? Yeah. But they're two sides of the same coin, my friends. We have to stop saying that I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. That is not true democracy. Those are crap choices. There's a reason that 90 million people didn't vote, because they don't think the system cares for them, and they don't. Why is the FICA still taking money when that money no longer be used for the? I'm not familiar. FICA. A lot of these programs have been, they're not good. Yeah, I watched South Park today. But if we're not, fascism's here. And there's still too many people that aren't willing to sacrifice. Can you imagine if Martin Luther King said, I can't give a speech because I don't want to lose my job? Or what if Rosa Parks didn't sit on the bus? Oh, I can't afford to lose my job. What if Colin Kaepernick didn't take a knee? Oh, I can't afford to lose my job. What if John Lewis didn't cross the bridge? Ooh, can't afford to lose my job. So then what are we really willing? I guess that's the question, right? The honest question is, what are we willing to sacrifice to stop fascism? Because I'll tell you this, and this is for everyone here, this is an honest question. If your mom was in a concentration camp in Florida, would you say, hey, Mom, it really sucks, but you know what? I just donated $10 to Hakeem Jeffries. In a year and a half, he's going to help you. Hey, my cousin that just got snatched off the street, kidnapped by ICE. Sorry, that really sucks, but you know what? Wait a year and a half. I just gave $10 to Hakeem Jeffries. Maybe he'll help you. I mean, I'm just being honest. That's what we're saying. And it goes back to the previous comment. We are selfish. We need to act as if it's our mom. Act as if it's your wife. Act as if it's your daughter. And there's too many people that don't care because it didn't happen to them. It's really sad. And you can't make people be empathetic. You just can't. It's a choice. Yeah, Walmart's going up. And Hakeem Jeffries has bad policies. You know, when I look at stuff like Hakeem Jeffries and Eric Swalwell, I can, listen, this is me as a voter and as a human being. I can deal with bad policy, right? I don't agree with everything Joe Biden did. He was a decent human being. Hell, we don't agree with our spouses on everything, right? But we still love them. I don't need to love my politician, and we shouldn't. I just don't think he has a backbone. The Democratic Party doesn't have a spine. That is my problem with the party. I don't even know what they stand for. So I'll ask everybody in the comments, seriously, who is the leader of the Democratic Party? Go ahead. I want to wait. You put in there who you think it is. Because we should all know the answer to that. If it's clear, if they had leadership, we would know who it is. You really think Hakeem Jeffries is the leader of the Democratic Party? That's the problem. What's happening is this should be a layup for the Democrats, right? But they're like running from the 50-yard line to the goal line, and they're running out of bounds. That's how pitiful they are. Merrick Garland was an absolute dumpster fire, but let's be real. President Biden should have fired him. I put that on Biden. He left him there the whole time. That was on Joe Biden. He was too nice. They are too weak. And here, I'll give you a couple examples, 3 examples, okay? When the white supremacist MAGA said DEI, 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 how many Democrats said, give me the name of 50 DEI people that were unqualified? When they said that CRT was taught in schools, how many Democrats said, give me the name of 50 schools that teach CRT between grades K and 12? How many schools give me the names of 50 kids in grades K through 12 that came home with transgender surgeries? How many Democrats said any of those things? None. And that's the problem. They don't have a backbone. They've allowed the Republicans to flood the zone with BS information because they have no backbone. Yeah, they're not just unqualified. I like Eric Swalwell, and I interviewed him a month and a half ago. He's not going to do anything. I asked him straight up about the general strike. You go watch it on my YouTube channel. He said, we would only consider a general strike if it helps the Democrats win the midterms. I'm not kidding. He said that. And I said, Eric, if you did your job, if you fought for the American people, you shouldn't have to ask for $10. We will give you $10. We will back you. We will vote for you. But that's not what they want. They care more about winning than fighting for the people. And if you're going to make $170,000 a year, I don't give a damn about your reelection. Do your damn job. If you lose your job, you lose your job. But your job is to fight for us, not to fight for reelection. And that's the problem with politicians. Yeah, they play by the rules. That's the problem. And Gavin Newsom, he said, if Texas gerrymanders, we're going to do it. Why are you waiting? Do it now. Why do you have to wait? And that goes back to the problem with the Democrats. They play defense. They react to everything. They're constantly reacting. And when this white supremacist presidency pushes all the stuff out of here, they're always reacting. They never take the narrative back. And right now is their only opportunity to do that. This is what the Democrats should do. They're in Illinois, go to New York. Go to New York, go to Georgia. Then go to New Jersey. Then go to California. Then go to Oregon. Make it an Un-F America tour. Literally tour the entire country in every blue state, in every city, and hold a press conference every goddamn day. Flood the zone, take the narrative back. But they're not going to do that. They're not. I wish they would, but they're not. That's what they should do. I don't know, Texas, why the Democrats aren't doing it. They're afraid to fight. I don't know why. If the Democrats fought with the same tenacity that the Republicans defend the rapist, we wouldn't be in this situation. We just wouldn't. I mean, you got to give the Republicans credit for one thing. As morally bankrupt as they are, they're all fighting for the same cause. Now, it's wrong. It's racism. It's misogyny. It's sexism. It's anti-Semitism. But you got to give them credit for that. They're at least getting behind the same message. I mean, if you brought 20 Democrats to a luncheon, they would probably all order a different lunch. That's how dysfunctional they are. Yeah, I don't think Crockett's going to... I hope that Jasmine Crockett runs with the leadership there because I love her. She's incredible. We need more of her. Deb, I agree. What they're doing is good. It's about damn time. But I don't want them just giving strongly worded speeches. I want them to go around the country and do this tour. That's what I want them to do. Every day. And every Democratic senator, congressman in those districts should all drive there. Let's say they come to California, my home state. They should all go to Sacramento. Everybody. Padilla, Adam Schiff. I don't even like Adam Schiff. I would rather have Katie Porter. I think he's a political shill. They should all go there and all stand together. Then go to Oregon and do it. Then go to Washington and do it. Then go to New Mexico. Hell, go to Arizona. They got 2 senators there and a governor. Go there. Go all the way around Texas. Crap all over them. Throw it in their face. You're right. We have to take the narrative back, and the Democrats haven't shown the willingness to do it. And when I interviewed Eric Swalwell, yes, Maxwell Frost is incredible. I love him. He's great. And the young gentleman from Tennessee, I don't know his name. I'm sorry, but he's incredible. The young kid. Katie Porter, I was hoping so much that Adam Schiff would have lost to her, but the Democratic system didn't want. They wanted a politician, someone with the establishment. Oh yeah, Justin, that's right. He's incredible. But that's where we are. Justin Jones. Oh yeah, that dude's great. He's so smart. He doesn't play around. And that candidate in Texas, Isaiah, what's his name? Isaiah Martin? Is that his name? The guy that got arrested? He's outstanding too. I like Ossoff, but I also have a criticism for Ossoff. 2 weeks ago, he gave a speech. And Ossoff said, I know why Trump won. Because he ran on the economy. No, that's not why Trump won. No. He has 6 bankruptcies. He added $7 trillion to the deficit. He won because of white supremacy. And I'm sick and tired of seeing Democrats avoid the issue because they're playing nice. They should run that narrative. Look at, okay, an example. Lincoln Riley. That was the lady in Arizona, I think it was, right? Why is that? Okay, there was almost 41,000 people that lost their lives to gun violence. 41,000 people. Why did they focus on her? Because she's a young white lady. And by the way, what happened to her was disgusting. It should have never happened, ever. But an undocumented immigrant did it. So they passed bills. They put her face on placards and posters and postcards and emails because it's about white supremacy. They put a brown person that committed a crime and said they're here illegally, and they scared the white people to thinking that the brown people were coming to murder and commit crimes and rape and steal your children. That's what that was. It was straight up racism. Thank you, Deb. I have considered running for office, but I kind of agree with Harris. The system itself is broken. If I ran for office, I would probably put a bed in Congress and I would sleep there every day until actual stuff got done. I would not go up there in my suit and tie. I would wear a nice button-up shirt and a pair of jeans and shoes. Because this is how I see it. I wasn't going to talk about this. I think that these politicians and their fancy suits and their nice cars, their leather seats, the marble floors, most people will never even sit in a building or sit in a chair that looks like that. They go on news with millions of followers. I think it's tone deaf. You're going to tell me people that work 60, 70, 80 hours a week with 2 jobs that can barely make rent really give a damn about someone like Eric Swalwell in his nice tie going on CNN talking to Wolf Blitzer? Do you think most Americans really give a damn about that? Because I don't. It's not relatable, and it's not where most Americans are. You think the farmers relate to that? No. You think the steel workers? No. The union workers? No. That's the problem. The perception of the government, it no longer works for the people. They've become too good. The optics just in itself is bad. These people are making $170,000 a year, and they won't even raise minimum wage in 26 years from $7.25 an hour. And that is the problem. I wouldn't pass a bill. I would sit there every day if I had to and talk on the news. I would shut the whole thing down. So I'm not sure how good I would be as a president, but I wouldn't care. I would fight for the people, and that would be it. I wouldn't take money. I would disband everything I just said on my general strike. Citizens United, no dark money, and anybody that took money, I would call it out on national media. And kickback from lobbyists, APAC. But that's just me. I would not be a politician. I would be a person that runs for the people. We have not had a president probably since Jimmy Carter that was a peanut farmer that actually needed a paycheck. And that's what we're needing in this country, a president that needs a paycheck. And we don't have that, and that's the problem. They don't. I got bills to pay. I got to pay my mortgage. I mean, I got to pay my health insurance. I got bills to pay. I need a job. We don't have that, and we need that. We need someone I used to walk 3.5 miles to work every day because I couldn't afford a bike. I was broke. We've all been there, right? You can't pay your bills. Rent's due. You come in the back door. You come in late because you don't want the landlady coming after you. If you haven't done that, you shouldn't be running for public office. If you haven't worked as a server at like a Burger King or a waitress and actually served people, you shouldn't be running for office. That shouldn't be your first job, working in customer service. Because that's what politicians should be, is customer service. It's to service us. And it's about getting rich. And it's gross. I like Andy Bashir. He's not a fighter. I'm keeping it 100. He's not ready. I believe somebody that's like me, that's going to call balls and strikes, that's going to get angry, it criticizes the Democratic Party. Margot is angry. I don't listen to MAGA at all. I don't really care what they think. I don't care about Hunter Biden's laptop. I think too many Democrats and too many people on the far left, the blue MAGA, they get stuck in all this crap. They chase it like a shiny object, right? Squirrel, squirrel, and they run around and they chase it. Leave it alone. Ignore it. Jimmy, just ignore it. They're giving it life. When you give it oxygen, when you give a narcissist oxygen and you give him attention, that's what he wants. And too many Democrats do it. They play his game. Yeah, it's a choice. And the media is complicit in this too. We don't have universal health care because of money. Corporations like United Healthcare and Kaiser, they have a monopoly on there. And again, they get tax breaks. They donate millions to the government. Do you think that the government's going to stop? They're going to say, hey, United Healthcare, thanks for all your donations, but we've really decided to take money out of. We're going to pass laws, but thank you. I promise we're going to take care of you. Do you really think that's going to happen? No. That's why we have to shut it down when we're ready to do it. Of course they're not. Even Eric Swalwell told me, watch my interview. 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. He said, we should have reversed Citizens United and we should have raised minimum wage, but we tried to go too moderate. See, that's the problem. He played politics. He should have done what's right. And most progressives that I know of, they don't want Liz Cheney in the picture. They don't want you going to the right. They want a living wage. They want universal health care. I would argue that most people are where Bernie Sanders is. And I don't consider Bernie Sanders a radical leftist. Him and AOC are center in most parts of the country. What's radical about universal health care? Huh? What's radical about a living wage? What's radical about not living paycheck to paycheck? Everybody in the country should want that. That should not be a partisan issue. He's not radical, but the system has spit him out. If the Democratic Party wouldn't have picked Hillary over him, I think he would have won. I really do. I think he would have been a good president. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is a human piece of garbage, and there's a special place in hell for him. He's a white supremacist Nazi supporter. There's nothing good about Nick Fuentes. Nothing at all. Yeah, Angela, the challenge with the general strike is exactly what you're saying. And it's found. We're in the situation where we have a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck, which is the reason that a general strike is needed. And then there's the fear of, if I don't work, I'm going to lose my house. And I totally get that. And I believe that people in politics don't tell people what they need to hear. There's a quote from Martin Luther King, who I absolutely adore. He's a hero. And I prayed to one day to be a fraction of the man that he was. He said that a true leader is not a searcher of consensus. They're a molder of consensus. Politicians tell people what they want to hear to make them feel good. I'll lower your taxes. You'll get more money in your pocket. You're going to retire earlier. And then they don't do a damn thing about it. They tell people what they want to hear. That is not leadership. And I believe to say what you're saying is completely is right, that you live paycheck to paycheck. But I also think that it's needed to be done. And it's going to suck. It's going to suck bad. And a lot of people are going to be hurt because of it. But I also know this, if we don't do anything, it's going to be a hell of a lot worse if we don't do something. See, I think, in my opinion, that's what leadership is. But politicians won't tell you that because they're afraid if they tell you the truth, that you won't vote for them because they want you to tell them what they think you want to hear. I hope I explained that right. But you're the reason that we have to do this. We have to change the system. It is broken. Thank you. I love Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz was too nice. I think he tried to be what we needed. I think if she would have ran with Ben Shapiro, she might have won, but I'm not sure. I still think that too many people couldn't vote for a black lady. But I do like I liked Josh Shapiro. I think out of everybody, he would have won. But I also think that if she wanted to go more moderate, Andy Bashir probably would have been the safer option. It's all hindsight. I don't know the answer to that. No taxes for workers, but corporations. But see, Belkin, here's the thing, and I'm going to take off in a second here. And I talked about this last night. Okay, let's look at Walmart. 1.4 million workers, the largest employer in the United States, okay? 15,000 people live on government subsidies because they don't pay them a living wage. So let's say that we tax Walmart, okay? It sounds great. AOC, Bernie Sanders, tax the rich, Cool. Where does the money go? To the government. Okay, great. The government gets it. Then what? What about the What about the 1.4 million people? Have you heard anything from AOC or Bernie Sanders or Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer how that we're going to get Walmart to pay them more money? Because I haven't. Because they know they don't have a solution for it. And taxing the rich sounds like a great catchphrase. They should pay their fair share. Absolutely. 100%. What they should do is this, in my opinion. Anything over $5 million, they get no tax write-off. You want to pay them $800 million? Great. You get no tax write-off. It's out of your pocket. You want to give them a bonus? No tax write-off. You want to pay your profit shares? No tax write-off. You change the laws. Now, you want to pay your people a living wage? Then we'll give you a tax write-off. Pay them 2 to 1, 3 to 1 on every dollar that they pay their person closer to $22 or $23 an hour. Whatever is determined to be a living wage. Probably $22.50, $23 an hour. Not linear, not one for one. Do it as a curve. So the closer you get, 19, 20, 21, 22, you give them a tax write-off. Because until those people can afford a house, can afford to save, aren't living paycheck to paycheck, this system will never be broken. And then you have to address regulating places like Walmart. They go into small cities and they lower their prices to purposefully put small businesses out of business, which is disgusting. They are the lifeblood and heartbeat of our country. And then they slowly raise their prices back up. And all those people they put out of business, now they have to work for Walmart and get paid shitty wages. And then Walmart just took over the entire town. Not just the revenue, but the workforce. And they can pay them whatever they want because there's nowhere for them to go. They can't afford to drive 30 or 60 minutes to go to work. That's a problem, and that has to stop. Yeah, I think you're talking about profit sharing, Belchin. I think on a larger scale, that could be a conversation, but I think we have to work on the micro level first because most people are very low information voters. It's not a diss on them. It's just a fact. They care about, even now, right? The MAGA is like, oh my gosh, eggs are going up. Beef is going up. Gas is going up. Coffee's going to go up 50%. That's when they're going to pay attention. Oh, I thought he was going to, well, I told you. Well, I didn't know. I didn't pay attention. I talked to a guy last week that apologized for voting for him. He's like, didn't you know about Jean Carroll? How was it? He's like, I didn't know about her. I'm like, really? He goes, I was an idiot. He said it. I was an idiot. I didn't do my research and I apologize. I should have never done that. There are a lot of people, someone that cleans my office as an example. I asked her, what do you think about January 6th? This was like before the election last year. She didn't know anything about it. She's like, I work 6 days a week. I don't have time to watch the news. There's a lot of people that don't do that. They care about what directly affects their lives. It doesn't make them ignorant. It's because we don't pay people a living wage. So they're literally, their entire life is working. They work to live. That's not a good quality of life on any measure. Yeah, it's easier, Vance. Ben I said it's easier for the camel to get through an eye of a needle. And that's the problem. When you have people like Kevin O'Leary that's going on CNN and telling people like just suck it up and pay him less, he's just a greedy little bastard. That's what he is. Right. And the Republicans are against regulation because they want to take money from corporations, which goes back to what I'm proposing. Unless you break the system of the government, none of it's going to matter. If we just wait a year and a half and assume that we have a democracy, we're going to be playing on the same foundation. We are. When are we going to stop playing within this system? Morpheus said it to Neo, right? He said, some rules can be broken and some rules can be bent. It's time we broke some of those rules. I don't care if, I've heard it's illegal to not pay taxes. I don't care. It's illegal to take away due process. It's illegal to put people in concentration camps. It's illegal to kidnap people off the streets. And there's Democrats that aren't willing to say that because they're playing by the rules. I called the local congressman next to me in my next district. And I said, well, will you support a general strike? Well, that's not really in the laws doesn't allow them to do that. I'm like we're living in a fascist country. And your answer is you want to play by the rules. And that's the problem with the Democratic Party. What we need is Rocky 5. Night. See you, Van Nuys. Angel, I don't have that answer for you. Ideally, if we had time, we would put communities together, put in funding. The problem is people aren't caring because it hasn't affected them. So, Angel, I've been where you at, and I care about you, and that's why I want to do this. But I also understand the situation you're in. And there's too many people in this country that don't give a damn about you because they're not living paycheck to paycheck. They simply don't care. And Eric Swalwell is one of those people that don't give a damn about you. He wants you to give $10 to Hakeem Jeffries so they can win the midterms and stay in power. That's what's wrong with our system. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I'm always going to keep it straight. I don't have a good answer for that. But I also know that we can't keep working the system where you have to live paycheck to paycheck because that's not a good quality of life. Yeah, I know, Angel. I'm trying to organize on our Discord and how to do that. The problem is a lot of people aren't staying engaged. I'm trying to find a website designer, and I've been looking for like a month, and I cannot find one. It is going to have to be community, but it also has to be organized. The problem is I've talked to 50-50-01. I've talked to General Strike US, and Indivisible is not up for it yet, and 50-50-01 isn't going to do it. And the people at General Strike US, they have a list of about 350,000 emails, and they don't have access to them. It's a decentralized thing. They're split up all over the country. They don't even know who runs the website. I talked to one guy that has access to it, but he can't access the emails. It has some weird hashtag on them. It's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah, we're going to have to get to the strike at some point, or I wish I had a better answer. Indivisible probably has the best chance of doing it, and they haven't shown their willingness to do it. What I see is Ezra Miller going on CNN and MSNBC and acting like a political analyst. I see him doing these virtual town halls for all this training on training. I don't even know what that's about. But I know this, that protesting every 2 months on a Saturday when it's convenient outside of working hours isn't going to stop what's happening. It's simply not. He means well, but that's not going to cut it. It's like I go back, faith without works. You can say whatever you want. You can protest as much as you want. Until you starve the system, nothing's going to change. It's just not. You have to take the gas out of the fuel tank. You got to put sand in there. You got to do something to starve it. So, yeah, Kimberly, that's the other thing is the homeless problem, right? And again, I go back to people not caring. We'll watch Lahaina burn, but we don't care about the rebuild because it's not good news. It doesn't bring in ad revenue. We'll watch LA burn, thoughts and prayers, but we don't care if people are still in the streets. We'll watch Hurricane Helene, but we don't care about the rebuild effort. We'll watch mass shootings, but we don't care about the families afterwards. Like, how much news media have you heard about that horrible flooding in Texas? None. It has like a 24 to 48 news cycle. Then we're like, well, back to Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, back to P. Diddy and baby oil. Oh, back to Antifa. I mean, it's sad. Our society is sadly addicted to outrage. And you can see that on the YouTube, on the, look at the thumbnails. Bright colors, it invokes an emotional reaction from you, an emotional response. And then you watch it or you don't. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to suck you in and get you to watch it. That's what it is. Yeah, Kimberly, that's the problem, is that we have to fix the system. There's too many people in this country. That's about, the last stat that I saw, there's about 770,000 people that are homeless, which is heartbreaking. And our society doesn't, they view people in the streets as, they just assume that they're drug addicts or drug dealers or alcoholics. And that's a real shame. There's a lot of good people that are on the streets that just are trying to work within the confines of a broken system, and it failed them. And they're good people. But people don't seem to care because it doesn't affect them. I don't have a good answer for that, other than we just don't have a lot of empathy for other people. It's just sad. All right, guys, I've yacked enough here, so hopefully at some point, I don't know how to do guests on here. Edit. I don't know what edit is. Oh, that's my title. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Yeah, American exceptionalism, American isolation is going to be the downfall. That capitalism, white supremacy of this country. Our desire for money, money, money. We are in this together. We are in this together. Yeah, you're right, Iris. We're not our enemies. But I will also say this. At the same time, yes, real quick. There's a lot of people that vote against the rights of women and gun reform and healthcare and Medicaid. And I think the time where we could agree to disagree while you're shitting on people's rights is gone. There has to be accountability as well. But I also think that we need to find common ground. But it's going to have them taking responsibility for the way that they treat other people and be a decent person. Yes, Brian Shapiro. We talked today. I'm going to host this show 7, 8, 15, 22, 20. The 28th and 29th, the last Thursday and Friday of the month, I'll be hosting Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. I'm going to see how I can. It's 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, those 2 days. Yeah, I'm starting to hear people lose their Medicaid already. I saw a video yesterday, and it's heartbreaking. My aunt had surgery today with a 3-month recovery because she was afraid her Medicaid is going to go away. It's sad. She's literally scared. Like she can't work because she's disabled, and they're putting gold leaf in the White House, and we're paying $20 million for a rapist to go to see a Super Bowl, and $5 million to go to NASCAR, and probably $20 million to go to Scotland to play golf. While people are losing their Medicaid, while people are on the streets that are disabled and need help, while people are in concentration camps. But hey, go play golf in Scotland because he cares so much about America first, right? I mean, it's a shame, but his base doesn't care because they just want to own the libs. All right, my friends. Yeah, no empathy. You're right. All right, bye-bye.